Another year, yet another first world problem faced by the women's. Bring back chivalry, says Townsville woman. Well, given she's from Townsville, I'm surprised she even knew the word chivalry. So a bit of geography for non-Australians. Townsville is located in North Queensland with a population of about 170,000 people. And as a general rule, the further north you go in Queensland, the more likely it is your parents are related. Not that there's anything wrong with that. All relationships matter. Cue the North Queensland hate mail. It's a joke. Remember those? Except, of course, when the same observation is made about Tasmanians. There's nothing funny about that. Townsville might be going through a woman drought, but ladies in the town say there is a shortage of romantic single men. Well, it's always something, isn't it? There's not enough good men or not enough educated men. If you're in Townsville, there's not enough men I'm not related to. And on top of it all, there's now not enough romantic men. Oh, the humanity. There's not enough men that tick every criteria on my perfect man checklist. And by the way, it's got nothing to do with me. I'm perfect and I deserve the man of my dreams. So as the story mentions, there are actually more men than women of dating age in Townsville, but obviously not the right type of men. Hayley Earhart said there was a drought in men who were looking for long-term relationships. Now, did you notice what's missing from that sentence? That's right. The sentence should read, Hayley Earhart said there was a drought in men who were looking for long-term relationships with her. She's calling on men to bring back the ancient art of chivalry. We don't mean to insult men, but rather give them a kick up the rear and say, get your act together, she said. Bring back romance and be a gentleman. Well, how could they think that was an insult? And did you just promote violence against men? Oh, sorry, that's not actually a thing, is it? And with regards to chivalry, isn't that considered sexist now? Have you considered that men may be a bit confused by the mixed signals they're getting? All men are potential rapists and sexual harassers, and you need to be our allies and fight against it. But we want you to be romantic, but not benevolently sexist. But if you approach me and I don't want you to, it's a hate crime. But 50 Shades of Grey is my favourite book. Why didn't he call me back? Miss Earhart has been single for about a year and said men often ghosted women after a few dates. Well, I predict you might be single for another year after putting your face in the paper with these words attached. Now, I have to admit I'm not up to speed with how the modern dating world works, and so I had to go and look up what ghosting meant. The article says that ghosting refers to the practice of partners refusing to answer text messages and phone calls. The Google says it's the practice of ending a personal relationship with someone by suddenly and without explanation withdrawing all communication. Well, that's not surprising, is it, in the age of caller ID and the ability to block people on social media? I'm not defending the practice, I just think it's a side effect of the modern age. Why put yourself through an uncomfortable conversation when you can just ignore them out of your life? If someone isn't returning your texts or calls, then that's probably a hint that they're not interested. Or dead. Either way, you're not getting a second date. Now, I understand it might be frustrating if you went out on a date, thought you hit it off, and then you never hear from the person again. But does one date mean you're now obligated to return messages to someone you don't want to see or talk to again? Miss Earhart says a few dates. Well, again, if someone doesn't have the courtesy to return your messages, then they're telling you something. Personally, I've always opted for blunt honesty because it's like ripping off a Band-Aid instead of peeling it off slowly like a pussy. But if you do go down that route, don't start off with some mealy-mouthed, hey, it's nothing personal, it's not you, it's me bullshit. Of course it's personal, and of course it's them. If they weren't them, maybe you'd consider seeing them again. But they are them. Just tell them that you're not interested. And if they want to know why, just remind them before telling them that they asked for it. Miss Earhart said many women were after old-fashioned romance. Having events for singles would be great, as I don't want to do the internet dating thing, she said. I want my love story to be more than I swiped right. People who have sincerity and want to put in effort will seek those events. There are lots of single guys and women, but we're not all chasing the same thing. We live in a hookup culture, and it's sad and frustrating when you're not that type of person. Yeah, I wonder why we live in a hookup culture. Could it be that men don't want to get hitched to someone that could destroy their life? But what type of person are you? What do you bring to the table to warrant the granting of your own personal fairy tale? Well, from my 30-second investigation, I'm fairly certain that Miss Earhart is a single mum. Now, single mums need loving too, but you have to be realistic about your sexual marketplace value. You're not exactly top shelf. Maybe you think that's harsh, but it's reality. Another Townsville single woman who asked that only her name, Nicole, be used, said women in the city just wanted to be treated right. Well, here's a question you probably haven't considered. How do you think men want to be treated? She said a growing issue was men sending inappropriate photos to women without their permission. There's also a problem of women constantly telling men what they should and shouldn't do without their permission. There's also a growing problem of women using AVOs under false pretenses to remove their spouse's access to their children and getting taken to the cleaners in divorce court. But of course, the real problem is someone sent you a dick pic. I'm a single mum of 2 kids, which I'm upfront about, she said. Well, being upfront about it doesn't make it any more attractive. I'm 33, I own a house and car. Was that part of the divorce settlement? I have a trade and at the end of next year, a degree. I'm just looking for a decent human with the same morals and values who isn't going to sleep around on me, isn't an alcoholic, isn't an addict of some description, and doesn't hit. And of course, accept my kids. Well, that all sounds fairly reasonable, except for that last one, which is a real deal breaker for a lot of guys. I don't know why anyone would want to raise someone else's kids. Another Townsville single woman named Rebecca had been single for 5 years and said men simply liked the thrill of the chase. They chase for weeks or months, and as soon as they get you, they go on a couple of dates, then they disappear or they randomly send dick pics, she said. I work full time and I earn a very decent income. I'm fully supported and don't need a man to rescue me. I just can't find a guy. Well, did you ever consider that men don't need a woman to rescue them?
We're a generation of men raised by women. I'm wondering if another woman is really the answer we need.
So basically they wine and dine you, romantic style, like our friend Haley wants, and then they bang you and move on. Well, maybe you're boring. Has it ever crossed your mind that perhaps it has something to do with you? And do you really think the fact that you're self-sufficient is an attractive selling point? It's like an 18-year-old bragging that they have a driver's license. In the age of equality, being financially independent is a basic expectation. Now, usually I finish off by asking you to make a comment, and by all means do that, but I wanted to try out a new YouTube card feature. So in the top right corner right now, you should see a poll that you can take, and the question is, would you consider a long-term relationship with a single parent? So this question is not just for males. The 7 females that actually watch these videos are more than welcome to participate as well. And also let me know what you think about chivalry in the comments. Is it a form of benevolent sexism, or should we bring back that old-fashioned romance? I'll see you next time.